Okay, so you know that feeling when like the new year rolls around and you're all gung-ho about your resolutions?
Yeah.
Like lose weight, learn that language you've always talked about, finally get organized.
Mhm.
And then like a few weeks go by and poof, back to square one.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard to actually like change who we are?
Well, it's something we all struggle with,
Yeah.
right? And it's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yeah, like how do we actually rewire ourselves to be successful? How do we kick those bad habits and actually get the good ones to stick?
To become automatic almost.
Exactly. And we've got this awesome book to guide us, Atomic Habits by James Clear.
It's a good one.
And we're going to break down all the important stuff for you guys, like that whole habit loop thing
Right.
and how powerful our brains are when it comes to rewards,
Oh, yeah.
how our environment secretly shapes us, and some real tactics we can actually use to take control.
It's all about those little things adding up.
Right.
It's like, imagine you're flying from New York to LA,
Right.
and right when you take off the planes, just like 3 degrees off course.
3 degrees. That doesn't sound like much.
Barely noticeable, right?
Yeah.
But as that plane keeps flying, hour after hour, that tiny difference, it makes a huge impact on where you end up. Instead of California sunshine, you could end up hundreds of miles away, like south of the border. Whoops.
Wow. Yeah, that puts it into perspective. So it's like all those little things we do each day, our habits.
Or habits.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that tiny course correction, right? Shaping our lives for better or worse.
exactly. And we always put so much pressure on ourselves to make these huge changes overnight.
Oh, yeah.
But the real magic is in what Clear calls atomic habits. Those small 1% improvements.
1%. That doesn't sound very impressive.
It doesn't, but it really adds up. Think about it, 1% better each day.
Okay.
That's not just 365% better over a year.
It's not.
No, it compounds. You actually end up almost 38 times better by the end of the year.
Wow. So like if you get 1% worse each day, you're heading towards...
Towards zero, pretty much. And we're not just talking about hitting the gym or learning a skill. This applies to your knowledge, productivity, even your relationships.
Yeah.
But it can also work against you. Think daily stress or negative self-talk, like Claire says. Lasting success isn't about those grand gestures. It's about your daily habits, the consistency.
I feel like I've heard that somewhere. Consistency is key.
It really is. But, you start making those small efforts, you're feeling all motivated, and
Yeah.
then boom, you hit a wall. It seems like nothing's changing. And that's when people give up.
That's so true. I feel like I do that all the time.
It's so common, yeah. We expect progress to be like this smooth upward climb,
Yeah.
but it's really not. There's this phase, especially in the beginning, where those little improvements, they don't show immediate results. Clear calls it the valley of disappointment.
The valley of disappointment.
The valley of disappointment. You're putting in the work, making those changes,
Yeah.
but you just don't see the payoff yet.
It's so easy to just quit there, to think this isn't working.
Totally. And slip right back into those old comfy patterns.
Yeah, exactly.
But you got to push through. The biggest impact of all those little improvements, it's delayed. You need patience. It takes time for those small habits to build up and make a real difference. It's like planting a seed. You're not going to see the tree sprout up the next day.
Right. Like you don't get a giant oak tree overnight.
Exactly.
You need to like water it and give it sunlight.
Exactly. And that brings us to a really interesting idea from the book. Shifting our focus from setting goals to building systems.
Mhm.
Like, what's the difference?
Yeah, what is that all about?
So a goal is just the outcome you want. Like lose 10 pounds, write that novel, run a 5K, whatever.
Okay.
A system is all the routines and processes you put in place to actually get to that result.
Yeah.
Like if you completely ignored your goals and just focused on your system.
Oh, wait, so ignore your goals completely.
Yeah, just focus on the system. Clearer argues you'd still move forward.
Really?
Think about it. People who succeed and people who fail, they often have the same goals. Everyone wants to be healthy, wealthy, and happy.
That's true.
So the goal itself isn't the thing that separates them.
Right, so what's wrong with just focusing on the goal then?
Well, even if you reach your goal, the change is often temporary. You might lose that weight. But if you don't change your eating habits,
It will come right back.
exactly. Goals can also make you think it's all or nothing.
Yeah, like you either hit the target or you're a failure.
Exactly. Even if you've made a ton of progress.
Right, and the motivation.
Oh, that's another big one. Motivation usually disappears after you reach a goal.
Like that marathon runner who crosses the finish line and goes right back to the couch.
Exactly. So focusing on goals, it's fleeting satisfaction, right? It makes you think of success and failure as black and white, and it doesn't address the underlying behaviors you need for real change. Systems, on the other hand, those build the foundation.
So it's like goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress.
That's it. And this is where the atomic habit system comes in. These are those small routines and behaviors that, when you do them consistently, they lead to big positive changes over time.
Slowly but surely.
Right. The problem isn't a lack of willpower or desire. It's usually that we don't have the right system in place.
Yeah, it's like we're all made up of these tiny actions, these atomic habits, and just like atoms build molecules, these little habits are the foundation for any big result we want.
Exactly. And to build these systems, we got to look at the 3 levels of behavior change.
3 levels.
3 levels. First is changing your outcomes, the results you want. Second is changing your process, your new habits and routines. But the deepest, most important level, it's about changing your identity, who you believe you are.
Okay, identity. So it's not just what you do, it's who you are at your core.
Exactly. Most people focus on outcomes and process. You want to get in shape, so you start a new workout plan. But the best way is to focus on becoming the kind of person who is in shape.
Mm.
It's not about learning an instrument. It's about becoming a musician. It's not about finishing a marathon. It's about being a runner.
So it's like that internal shift. If you believe you're a runner, going for a run just feels natural, right? It's
Right.
part of who you are.
Exactly. When something becomes part of your identity, your actions start to match. You reinforce that identity through what you do.
Mm.
Like every time you choose a healthy meal, you're not just dieting, you're being someone who values their health.
Right.
Every time you sit down to write, you're being a writer.
So powerful, right? It's not about forcing ourselves to do things. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally does those things.
Exactly. Which brings us to the habit loop, how habits form in the first place.
Okay, let's break that down. It's a cycle, right?
It is. It has 4 parts: cue, craving, response, and reward. The cue triggers the behavior. The craving is the desire behind it. Like you want to change how you feel inside.
Okay.
The response is the actual habit you do, and the reward is the good feeling you get from it, which makes you want to do it again. And over time, this whole loop becomes automatic.
Wow, okay. Can you give us some examples of how this works in real life?
Sure, your phone buzzes with a notification. That's the cue.
Oh, yeah.
The craving is that urge to see what it is.
Yeah.
The response is you pick up your phone and check it. And the reward is satisfying your curiosity. Maybe you see a funny meme or get an important message.
Or like when you're bored at work and you just got to check social media.
Exactly. That feeling of boredom, that's your cue. You want something to shake things up, that's the craving. So you open up Facebook, that's the response, and the reward, little distraction, something new to look at.
It's crazy how those rewards get so tied to the cues, right?
Yeah. So it's not just about checking social media when you're bored. It becomes this automatic thing.
I know, and it's like a chain reaction. Checking email leads to Twitter, then Instagram, and suddenly you've wasted an hour.
And the more you do it, the stronger and more automatic those loops get. You don't even realize you're doing it half the time.
It's like our brains are always looking for shortcuts, ways to just do things without thinking.
Exactly. And those cues are everywhere. A certain time of day, a place, people you're with, even how you're feeling. It's good to think about what cues are triggering your good and bad habits.
So how do we change those habits then? That's where the 4 laws of behavior change come in, right?
Yes. These laws are like a framework for building good habits and breaking bad ones. You influence each part of the habit loop. Make it obvious for the cue, make it attractive for the craving, make it easy for the response, and make it satisfying for the reward.
Okay, let's start with make it obvious. Sounds like the first step is just noticing our habits.
Exactly. So many things we do are on autopilot. You got to shine a light on those behaviors. The book suggests a habit scorecard. You write down everything you do in a day,
Yeah.
from waking up to going to sleep,
Everything.
as much as you can remember. Then, and this is important, you decide if each habit is positive, negative, or neutral. Is it helping you become who you want to be? But no judgment, just observation.
So it's just about seeing what we're doing without trying to change it yet.
Exactly. Like Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate.
I like that.
Once you're aware, the next step is being super clear about the new habits you want, saying, I want to be healthier. That's too vague.
Okay, so how do we make it super obvious then?
That's where implementation intention comes in. You use this formula. I will behavior at time in location.
Got it.
So instead of I'll exercise more, you'd say, I will go for a 30-minute walk every day at 7 a.m. in the park near my house. The more specific you are about what, when, and where, the more likely you'll do it.
That makes sense. No more excuses.
Exactly. And what about connecting new habits to things you already do? That's habit stacking.
Habit stack.
Yeah. The formula is After current habit, I will new habit. You pick a habit you already do every day and attach your new habit to it. Like, after I pour my coffee, I will do 10 push-ups. You can even chain habits together, stacking multiple new behaviors onto existing ones. The key is the trigger habit has got to be something you do automatically, like brushing your teeth or finishing lunch.
So you're using your old routines to create new good ones.
Yeah, it's like building a system that actually gets you unstuck.
Right. And the book talks a lot about our environment, too. It's not just about willpower, is it?
Not at all. Our environment shapes our behavior way more than we realize. Like Clear says, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. So we got to design our surroundings, our home, our workspace to make good habits easy and bad habits hard.
So, like, how do we do that? What are some examples?
Say you want to drink more water. Keep water bottles visible everywhere you spend time. Want to read more. Leave books on your coffee table or by your bed. If you're learning an instrument, don't hide it away. Make it easy to grab. And to break bad habits, make the cues disappear. Want to use your phone less, put it in another room, trying to eat healthy, get rid of the junk food.
And it's not just about the things themselves, but also what they mean to us, right? Like, the couch could be for reading or for watching TV.
Exactly. The same place can trigger different things depending on what you associate it with. That's why it helps to have different zones for different activities. The one space, one use idea.
Right, makes sense.
It strengthens those cues, so you're more likely to do the right thing in the right place.
Okay, that's making it obvious. What about make it attractive? That's all about the craving, the motivation behind our habits.
Exactly. We stick with habits we like. And dopamine is key here. It's the neurotransmitter for pleasure and reward. And get this, dopamine spikes not just when we feel good, but also when we anticipate feeling good.
So it's like looking forward to something, that's what gets us going.
Exactly. Like someone addicted to gambling, they get a dopamine rush before they even place a bet. Or think about the excitement before a vacation. Sometimes it's more intense than the actual trip. Even just seeing a delicious treat can trigger dopamine before you take a bite.
Wow. So how do we use this to make good habits more appealing?
One way is temptation bundling. You link something you need to do with something you want to do, like only watching your favorite show while you're on the treadmill.
Oh, that's clever.
Right. You're basically rewarding yourself for doing the good thing. It's like Premack's principle. You're more likely to do something you don't want to do if it leads to something you enjoy.
I can see that working.
Another big factor is your social circle. We copy the people we spend time with. So if you want to build a new habit, hang out with people who already have that habit. Want to be more active? Find friends who love exercise? Want to read more? Join a book club.
Yeah, like you become the average of the people you spend the most time with.
Right. And don't forget about your basic human needs. Our brains aren't designed to crave social media. Those are new habits that try to fulfill old desires, like wanting to connect, feel accepted, reduce uncertainty, or gain status. So if you connect your desired habit to these core motivations, it becomes more attractive. Like exercise isn't just a chore, it's a way to be healthier and live longer, fulfilling that need for security.
Right, and for breaking bad habits, we do the opposite.
Exactly. Show yourself how those bad habits actually stop you from getting what you truly want deep down.
Okay, so next is make it easy. This one's about reducing the effort it takes to do good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Habits are built through repetition, especially in the beginning. And as you repeat something, your brain gets better at it. So the easier something is, the more likely you'll do it consistently. That's the law of least effort.
We're all a little lazy.
Well, we like to conserve energy, right? So how do we make good habits easier and bad habits harder? One way is to prime your environment. You set things up in advance to make it easy to do the right thing. Like lay out your workout clothes the night before, have your healthy breakfast ready to go, automate anything you can.
Makes sense. And what about when you want to start a habit that just feels too big? Like you were saying, we put too much pressure on ourselves to change overnight.
That's where the 2-minute rule comes in. It's awesome for beating procrastination and getting started. You shrink your habit down to something that takes 2 minutes or less.
Okay.
Run a marathon becomes put on your running shoes, read for 30 minutes becomes read one page. The point is to establish the routine, make it so easy to show up that you can't say no. And once you've done that 2-minute version a few times, you naturally start doing more.
So it's about taking that first step, even if it's tiny.
Exactly. And for bad habits, you do the opposite, make them harder. Want to watch less TV? Unplug it after each use. Hide the remote. Online shopping problem. Delete your saved payment info. Make those bad habits a pain to do.
I like it. Okay, last one. Make it satisfying. This is about the reward, right?
Yes, we like things that feel good. And immediate rewards are more powerful than delayed rewards, even if the delayed reward is bigger. The problem with good habits is they often pay off later, while bad habits feel good right away.
So we got to make good habits feel good now and bad habits feel bad now.
Exactly. Even small wins can be motivating. That's why tracking your progress is helpful. Use a habit tracker, keep a food journal, even just move paper clips from one jar to another when you finish tasks. These visual cues make you feel like you're winning, even if it's just a little bit.
And the book talks about not breaking the chain, too.
Oh yeah, consistency is key. If you miss your habit once, it's no big deal. But miss twice, and you're on a slippery slope. Even on bad days, do a tiny version of your habit, just don't break the chain.
And how do we make bad habits unsatisfying?
One way is to get an accountability partner. Knowing someone's watching your progress, it makes you feel more responsible. You also don't want to tell them you failed. You could even create a habit contract where you write down your commitment and what happens if you don't stick to it.
Smart. So basically, to build good habits, make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying. And to break bad habits, we just reverse it all.
Exactly. Make the cue invisible, the craving unattractive, the response difficult, and the reward unsatisfying.
Wow, this has been such a great deep dive into atomic habits. It's really amazing how these little tweaks based on these 4 laws of behavior change can really help us grow and change who we are.
It's all about building those systems day by day that will help you become the person you want to be.
For all of you listening, take a minute to think about your own habits. Maybe try that habit scorecard and pick just one thing we talked about today, something you can actually start doing right now. Like make one good habit a little easier to do or make a bad habit a little harder.
And the most important thing, think about the person you want to be. Because all those little things you do every day, even just 2 minutes, those are shaping who you are. When you focus on building that identity, that's when real lasting change happens.